Gregor Townsend has given youth a chance to shine. But Scotland need to win. It is all very well Scotland blooding young players on this summer tour, but they will get much more out of the experience if they get used to winning, too. That is why Scotland legend Gavin Hastings believes Saturday night's match against Argentina in Resistencia is a must-win for the relatively young team that includes his son Adam at fly-half. "Scotland need to win this one," said Hastings, whose son is part of a 23-man squad of which 12 players have 10 caps or less. "It will be a crushing disappointment if they were not to beat Argentina. Notwithstanding a few young guys having been blooded, you still want to be winning games with them. They will want to go home knowing how it feels to win at international level against such a top side. You certainly don't want to be returning home after winning just one game against Canada on the tour and losing the other two. I don't think Gregor would be pleased with that at all." Fair play to Gregor, he has given a lot of the young guys like Adam an opportunity. Some will step up to the plate. Others will not make it. It is up to them, every one of them, to keep improving as a rugby player. If they don't, they won't play again for Scotland. They were selected on the basis of their potential on this tour. Potential can either be realized or unfulfilled. I hope all of them go on and learn from their experience and go on to become really strong rugby players. As a parent, I would like to think my son has the capacity to go on and do that. Time will tell. Whatever happens, it is really important that this relatively young and inexperienced team beat Argentina. It is very important they go home with 2 wins out of 3. Hastings watched on television at home in Edinburgh as his 21-year-old son came off the bench to earn a first cap in the 48-10 win over Canada in Edmonton 2 weeks ago. The moment he found out Adam would start against the USA, he flew out to Houston in Texas to share his special moment. For all his rugby experience, the former Scotland captain still sat there nervously like any parent would watching their son run out to represent his country in the late evening Texas sun. You aren't talking to every parent, I assume, so I will probably be speaking on behalf of all of them when I say it is a very proud moment in all of our lives when our sons win their first caps for Scotland, said Hastings, who also captained the British and Irish Lions on their tour of New Zealand in 1993. It is something you hope will happen, but you never really know if it will or not. When it does, it is a momentous occasion for all. I was nervous for Adam and saw him briefly for half an hour a couple of days before the USA game. I texted him a few times and told him to go out, as I always do, and enjoy himself, to relish the experience. It is not for me to tell him how to play. I don't know the game plan. It would be wrong for me to muddle his head with anything. A comment here and there is much more valuable to Adam, rather than me telling him what I think he should be doing when he is playing for Scotland. That would just be wrong. Also, Adam is different from me. He is placid and more laid back than me and doesn't put as much pressure on himself as possibly I did. That was just the way I was. It probably came from captaining every side I played for. That was the sort of pressure I put myself under. So how did Hastings Sr. think Adam and his teammates played in the shock defeat by the USA last weekend? From my point of view, there was a world of difference between watching Adam's debut at 2 o'clock in the morning on TV against Canada after my night out earlier watching the Rolling Stones at Murrayfield, compared to being there in the flesh in America, said the man who played 61 times for Scotland and 6 times for the Lions. I watched the game more closely in Houston as I had a nice seat close to the action. I could concentrate on watching the game, the way Adam and the team was playing. I felt Adam's kicking out of hand was below standard, but his passing was very good and his defense has never really been in question. He played okay and the same could apply to any of the other new players. I don't think anybody was truly outstanding. There were a few good performances. Overall, it was a disappointing performance, as Gregor said, from the Scotland team as a whole. Such is the inexperience in the Scotland touring squad, Hastings believes it is not a foregone conclusion they will bounce back against Argentina, although he clearly hopes they will. You cannot expect young guys, who have not had much game time with their pro clubs, To be absolutely performing to the peak of their powers, said the 56-year-old. Make no mistake, taking on Argentina is a step up from Canada and even America, who deserved to beat Scotland. It is going to be tough. Although Adam Hastings was part of the side that lost 30-29 to the USA, he showed enough to Townsend to retain his place, which allows him to win his third cap against the Pumas. He is part of an inexperienced halfback partnership, with scrum half George Horne set to play for his country for only a second time. We knew we would have a choice to make on standoff as we don't have Finn Russell on tour, said Townsend. Adam grabbed his opportunity against Canada and did some really good things against America. Yes, there are going to be